In today's episode, we have a special honor to spend a day with the Serbian royal family. Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Katherine and I will spend a day talking about her exemplary life and giving back. For a day, formal protocols were set aside, allowing us a special opportunity to better know Her Royal Highness, and one of the best ways to do it was while we were baking cookies. Her Royal Highness showed us how to make Serbian traditional cookies called vanilice. This was an amazing day and such a privileged opportunity to get to know Her Royal Highness, not through her title, but through her giving and all the difference she makes. I look forward to sharing this private interview with you and the story of a beautiful princess who wears her crown on her heart. This was one of the most meaningful interviews I have done. And to keep it true, simple, and blessed, I brought a fresh branch of basil to bring us a good luck. My intention is to tell a simple story about an extraordinary human being.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Thank you. We are so happy you have come. And
Thank you.
we were very much looking forward to your visit.
I was so thankful to His and Her Royal Highness for welcoming us to their home and granting us this special privilege.
Thank you very much for inviting us in your beautiful home. This is such an exciting day for me to interview such a unique being as you are. So thank you for opening your doors to us.
Well, we are very happy to have you join us here this morning. It's a beautiful day, and we are very happy to have the opportunity to have you here with us. And we would very much like to start with some of our traditions here. And traditionally, we have some Serbian wine that we would like to try, and also the...
Oh, thank you. So this is a traditional Serbian way of welcoming people.
Let's try it.
By offering something sweet.
Because we're supposed to be sweet.
Ah.
We're supposed to be nice one to another.
Thank you very much.
We all have a purpose in life. And bringing happiness and joy is on the top of my list.
But this is something that I would love to talk to you about. And this is one of the reasons that I came here. And but I was thinking about who you are today. It takes me back to your childhood and the way you grew up and some of the memories that you carry with you, because I find that we become to what our memories are. And that means with the memories of people around us and of our upbringing, what that is, that's what we become later on. So I would love to learn a little bit about your childhood memories and what are some of the things that helped shape you to who you are today.
Right. Well, this is a very big part of my life. And maybe we can have some Serbian coffee.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
And
treat.
Talk about it.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Oh,
It is lovely.
another Serbian tradition.
And it's Serbian and Greek.
And Greek, that's
Yeah.
right, that's right.
So we are happy to always serve it, and I've had it since I was young, since I was born in Athens. And that coffee is one that we always use there as well. So
It's just the conversation goes better with a cup of coffee.
exactly. So that's the combination that we have.
Thank you.
So welcome again, all the best to you. You're quite unique, and you impressed me when I met you, and I very much believe in what you do. Very, very much. And I hope you're contagious, if I can say it that way.
Well, the feeling is mutual.
In a good way. I hope others learn from you, because this is so interesting of what you do, and I'm very happy to be part of it. Who I am today, what I'm doing, and how I'm doing it, I couldn't have learned after I met my husband. I had to learn when I was young, very young. And I learned not by listening to what my parents had to say only, but also by watching them and seeing how they live their lives, what makes them the happiest in their lives. This is what it's all about. And my parents were big philanthropists. And I noticed as a child that the best time in their lives, the happiest time in their lives that I remember my parents to be, was mainly when they were helping others, when they were making a difference in this world. And I start thinking, that's interesting. You know, they have so much they can do, so many friends, so many people, but at the end of the day, it's the difference they make in this world that makes them the happiest. And my father was awarded by the Greek government as one of the biggest philanthropists. I thank God, I pray a lot, and I thank God for giving me such great parents. Although I didn't know the influence they were having on me, I didn't know that what I was learning, I will one day have to apply in my life. I didn't know that, but I was curious about something. So I decided to ask my mother. You know, I said, I'm so grateful that God gave me such a great mother. But I would very much like to know what you expect from me, because you're a great mother and I want to be a great daughter. And I said, could you please tell me, what can I do? And she was wonderful. She says, I only want one thing from you. I was celebrating in my mind, one thing. Wow, how lucky I am, I only have to think of one thing. I said, Mommy, what is that? She says, I want you to be a good example in life. We don't have enough good examples. So this is exactly what I understood from my mother. This is why I highly recommend parents all over the world. Don't try to think that you know what the future of your child is going to be. What you need to focus on is preparing the child for the world that is, because the world is not the same every day. The world changes, and we have to adapt to the changes. And the first thing we have to learn is what can we give to this world in order to make a difference.
The Karađorđević dynasty was founded by Karađorđe Petrović during the First Serbian uprising of 1804 through 1813. In 1903, the Serbian parliament chose Karađorđe's grandson Peter I Karađorđević to occupy the throne of the Kingdom of Serbia. In 1929, the kingdom was renamed Yugoslavia under Alexander I, the son of Peter I. In April of 1941, after Germany attacked and occupied Yugoslavia, the country's young King Peter II left in advance of invading German forces for Athens with the former Yugoslavian government. On July 17, 1945, while living in a hotel, Queen Alexandra gave birth to a son, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Alexander of Yugoslavia. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Alexander is also a descendant of Queen Victoria, but unlike Prince Charles, his friend and a distant cousin, Prince Alexander of Serbia called Queen Elizabeth his godmother. After years in exile, in 2021, Crown Prince Alexander returned to Serbia, enthusiastically received by hundreds of thousands of people who see the Crown Prince as the embodiment of all that's best for democracy and constitutional parliamentary monarchy. Today, through their hard work and dedication, the royal couple is making a great impact and a lot of positive changes in Serbia.
A lot of people say to me, how does it feel to be a princess? I said, it's a huge responsibility because you know that people are watching you, people are learning from you, and people might even follow you. And you feel it, you know it, and you want to be able to give something back to this privilege. And it is not just wearing tiaras and, medals and long dresses and mixing with other royals, which is wonderful. You have to be an example. You have to show that being a princess did not change my heart, my brain, what I learned from my parents, my dedication to this world. On the contrary, because I lived that life of giving, that is my life. And this giving is the joy of giving. Because it is natural when we enjoy something in life, we want to repeat it. And God is counting on us. We're His children. And our behavior, our way of thinking, our dedication to our family, to our friends, to everyone, is what makes us what we are. And what is very important is the word consistency. We have to be consistent as parents, as friends, as individuals, as givers, as whatever you want. We have to be consistent. Nobody says, give only the first 10 years of your life. Or nobody says,
love for 5 years.
Exactly. There is no such a thing. We are built, and our thinking is built, and we are built as people who make a difference in this world. And all these beautiful palaces, this beautiful country we live in, Serbia, and all these people that we love and they love us, is united us to work together for a better tomorrow.
Her Royal Highness's life philosophy is backed up by her deeds through her charitable organization called Lifeline. I was eager to visit one of the beneficiaries of Her Royal Highness's charitable work right here in Belgrade.
This is Drinka Pavlović Home for Children and Youth Without Parental Care, and we are by the government of the Republic of Serbia and Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs obliged to provide help for children and youngsters between the ages of 7 and 18 or 7 and 26, depending whether children are going through one of the university programs. At all times, no matter the circumstances, we're obliged to provide help for the 48 proteges at all times. We provide accommodation, we provide social protection programs, medical programs or medical protection and educational protection, but also we provide psychological and psychosocial protection programs due to various and severe trauma caused by very specific life circumstances of our children and youngsters. And Her Royal Highness Princess Katharina Foundation is providing our various projects and help. Some of the most important activities are the period of the year connected to Christian celebrations such as Easter and Christmas also, but New Year's Eve. If you're asking why that activities are most important for our children, because the Princess Katharina is at her best. She is coming to spend some quality time with them, and it is very specific why they love to spend their time with her, because she is always asking them how are you? What do you need? How do you spend your time?
Very personal.
Yes, very personal.
Yes.
And she always allows them to stay in touch in a very close manner. You know, she allows them to hold her hands, to touch her cheek or hair, which is very important for our children. They just love that personal contact.
Connection.
Yes.
People from all over the world come to visit us because my husband decided he wanted the palaces open so people can enjoy them. He is someone who cannot keep something to himself to enjoy. He likes to share it. And he wanted to share those palaces. This used to be the forbidden city. No one was allowed to come near it. And when my husband came, he says, I'm home, and this is the home of my people. So he opened the home.
Which is another Serbian tradition. It's hospitality. Forgive me for interrupting, but it's just that it's another way a Serbian culture lives, is by keeping the doors open. And that's something that makes you quite different, because a lot of royal families are quite closed. Yet you have opened your doors, not just to Serbia, but to the entire world.
Absolutely. We have so many people who come with the boats, and they all come here, you know, at 50, 100, 150 sometimes. They all come here and say, oh my God, this is incredible. We thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And they're so curious, what is our life like? What is the life of a prince and princess living in a palace? Well, it is a privilege. And it is an opportunity to do good, but at the same time, it's a lot of work. So now we have to give in our stomach. And you are so well and famous for all this cooking and all this goodwill. And I'm so happy that we will have that opportunity. Thank you for coming to the Royal Palace, and thank you for giving me personally the opportunity to talk about what has made me what I am, which I owe totally to my parents, and how God blessed me with a partner for life that is an example to me, where he was strong enough not to allow his difficult childhood, his unhappy and unfortunate childhood, to have a negative effect on him. So he's my king, and I love him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm excited to go to the kitchen, because that's somehow it's my comfortable spot.
Okay.
And so I'm very curious to see what we're making today.
On our way to kitchen, Her Royal Highness took me on a tour of a royal palace. Completed in 1929 in a Serbo-Byzantine style, this palace was built as a home for King Alexander I and Queen Maria. After the World War II, the new communist government of Yugoslavia proclaimed all members of the Karađorđević family enemies of the state. They were deprived of citizenship and their properties were confiscated. Since they returned to the royal compound in 2001, the royal couple has worked extensively in returning the original splendor to the palace, all while making it more warm and hospitable.
Well, when I was coming here, I was thinking, it's going to take a special person to love two countries so passionately. So I know you're very passionate and proud of your Greek heritage, and I see what you're doing here in Serbia. And so, how does it feel to carry two countries, two nations in your heart?
I feel so. I mean, you never lose where you were born, but I feel Serbian. You know, I lived in America for many, many years, and so I was 20 when I left Greece. So then I lived another 20 years, 25 years in America, and then we lived in London, and then we have been here 20 years. So this is home.
This is home.
Now that we're in the kitchen, it's time to get to work and to show you how to make Serbian traditional cookies called vanilice. Coming from Greece, I know Her Royal Highness is bringing great baking skills with her.
Let's get to business. Okay, so we're making something very simple so that everybody can make this recipe, all right? And simplicity, sometimes it's the best. In Serbian tradition, instead of using butter as much as the rest of the world does, Serbs go back to what they grow locally, which is a good pig fat. And you would be amazed how many good recipes come out of this.
This is wonderful. Now we're going to copy you.
That's right, okay.
And the orphanages are going to be very happy.
As soon as the Royal Highness took her jacket off, I knew she meant business in a kitchen. With that in mind, we're gonna mix the lard and sugar first.
And we have 2 whole eggs in this.
All right.
Right, do we shake them first or do we put them like that?
I think we'll go like this.
Okay.
We'll go like this.
All right, excellent.
You
Okay.
can't go wrong. If you start with the pig fat, you can't go wrong. In Serbia, there is a particular cookie called vanilice.
Yes.
And no matter where you go in the world, that particular cookie is a success. I've made this cookie many times in America, and all the kids, all the friends in America are like, when are you making your vanilice next time? So it's simple, easy, and it's must have for any Serbian celebration or slava or holidays.
Wow,
Okay.
wonderful. So,
Very good.
so the world is going to learn to eat Serbian cookies.
So far we have 200 grams of fat. You can go with butter, but we went with the pig lard. We have 4 tablespoons of sugar.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And
it looks like this.
2 eggs. And let's add some lemon. This is the juice of 1 lemon.
Okay. Really, that's a healthy lemon.
And next is 500 grams of flour. This is an all-purpose flour. Okay, quite simple. So now it's time to get messy.
Yeah, that's all right.
Are we ready?
If it doesn't get messy, then we're not doing cookies.
Right. You haven't done anything. Okay, right. So we're gonna add flour gradually. Okay. I'm putting you to work, which you at some point.
I was prepared for that.
Okay.
I was looking forward to it. So here we are.
So from this point, we'll continue to add more flour.
Is that sugar?
That's a sugar. That's for later.
Right. So we're not putting any more sugar.
No, not yet.
It's not good for the pig. So I want to see how you do it.
Okay.
From this point, add the rest of the flour gradually until you form the firm dough.
Well,
Are you ready?
I can put my hands in and try it. I've been the president of St. Catherine's Monastery in America for the last 17 years. And President Bush was the patron.
Oh.
And I'm also in the foundation in the United Kingdom and of St. Catherine's Monastery. And Prince Charles is the patron. So I never take my ring out. So if you don't mind, it will be part of it. And this is the ring that my husband's father, King Alexander, has been wearing. And my husband has given it to me. So this, I don't mind. I don't take them. I like to work with them. They're with me.
If anything, they're gonna bring more flavor to these
But I'm
cookies.
gonna wash
This will
my
be the
hands
best
one more
cookies.
time. Yeah. Wow, it feels so good. I have a feeling they're going to be delicious.
Yes, we're gonna roll them.
Yes.
Like this.
Next, we will work the dough on a counter just for a little bit longer before we thin it out.
There are more things that unite us between Greeks and Serbians. In my case, only my grandmother, how much my grandmother was trying to teach me, and she wanted to pass on to me as much as possible. And I appreciate that very much. So I think we need to go back to some of our old days.
I agree.
And I think that we shouldn't let the grandparents sort of live alone at home and not giving them the opportunity to teach the grandchildren the pleasure and teaching the grandchildren what they would like them to have for the rest of their lives.
I agree.
You hear children, you hear people, for example, in Greece and in Serbia, they say, my grandmother used to do this.
Yes.
My grandmother was used to do this. And the grandfathers too, who was teaching the boys and things like that. And the grandmothers were teaching the girls.
Yes.
So we need to go back to our old traditions.
I agree. Missing grandparents in a life is a huge loss for children.
Exactly.
I often said it's like without grandparents, it's like if your parents only raise the children, it's like kids eat green fruit.
Absolutely.
If they live with grandparents, they eat ripe fruit.
Yes.
So they get that wisdom,
I
patience, and love. That's so crucial.
And we don't have the right to deprive the grandmother and the grandfather for passing on to their grandchildren what they taught their children, except that their children don't have enough time to teach the grandchildren. So only the grandparents are investing, that can invest the time, can afford to invest it. Sometimes the parents cannot because they get up early, they all get ready to go, the children to school and all this, and it's the grandparents who are home most of the time. When the children come home and then they have an opportunity to show the grandma to the girls and the grandpa to the boys. It's wonderful traditions. We need to go back to them.
So you notice I'm smiling the whole time. And the reason I smile is because, again, you meet a soul that's very much like mine, and it makes me feel like I was raised in the same household. It makes me feel like we come from the same grandmother. And perhaps for all of you who follow my work, you know where I stand, you know why I do what I do, and perhaps all of this is because I take after my princess. Maybe because this is where it all comes from. Maybe that's what it is. I didn't mean it.
It looks like what you're doing, being on TV, teaching children and parents, all this, it stays in their minds. And then sometimes when they think a princess says something, that stays in their mind as well. So if you and I have this in common, when we talk, we make sense. And what we tell them, it stays with them.
Let's hope so.
Well,
but if we mess up the cookies, I think everything we said, they will not take us seriously. So we better make sure these cookies come out good.
We want the parents to remember we started this. They have to follow it because they're the ones who live with their children.
Yes.
And the grandchildren for the grandparents.
Yes.
So we can give them our advice, but they have to also want to make a difference. So if everybody was as enthusiastic as you are and so devoted in making a difference in this world, then this world will be a better world.
1% at a time, right? That's all we can do.
Yes. I understand, but timing is very important. Not to wait. We don't have the pleasure of waiting for several hundred years.
Well, I like that because I'm too a woman of action. Let's make it happen. Okay?
Absolutely.
We have established the need. Now let's make it happen. I love your attitude. I love it.
They're all very good. There you are. Okay, excellent. So wow.
The image of a nation is in question here. We cannot mess up this traditional cookies. We got to do this right. All right.
Okay. So
should God present me with another opportunity to cook with you?
Yes.
Maybe next time we go Greek.
Yes, exactly. We need to help everyone. regardless religion or ethnic origin.
So the Catholics, the Muslim, the Orthodox.
You know what I did one day? I went to the United Nations and I saw the permanent members of UN, the permanent, there's a small number that's the permanent. And I took pictures and put in front of their desk in front of them. And I said to them, tell me which baby is Muslim, which baby is Orthodox, which baby is Catholic. And he looked at them and he says, I can't. I'm looking at the babies, but I can't tell you. I said, if you cannot tell me what religion they are, please don't separate your help and your aid for these babies.
Should be equal to everyone.
And they should be all recognized as God's children who have arrived during a terrible time of the war, and we have to feed them all and care for them all. So if you cannot tell me what each baby is, then you have no right to send by saying this is for the Muslims,
Yes.
or this is for the Orthodox, this is for the Catholics. We are all one.
And we all suffer equally.
And we are
Yes.
all suffering equally.
Equally, yes.
And when the baby is hungry and the child is hungry, it's equally hungry as other
Yes,
children.
yes.
So I said,
Hunger
I'm
and
sure
pain have no religion.
yes, so UN is doing a great job, but we have to teach the world that we're all equal. I'm grateful to Greece and to my parents, because that's where I learned the joy of giving. I did not know I would use it one day. I did not know I would be what I am today. But I do pray that God, with this opportunity that He gave me, helps me to make a difference. And there's so many incidents that I can give you examples for. For example, we have the highest incident of breast cancer in Europe.
In Serbia.
Here.
In Serbia.
The highest. And nobody wanted to accept this. What is this? I mean, my God, why? And I immediately brought people here from abroad, Swan Catering from New York, for example. They were incredibly kind, and Nyakos Foundation was incredibly kind. We got a mobile unit with digital mammography, $800,000 and dollars, and with this donation, we have been able to go from village to village and to examine the women. More than 150,000 women have been examined in this mobile unit. What is 800,000 comparing to saving 150,000? I mean, not all of them have cancer, but the possibility out of this 150,000, those who had cancer, might not have been here today. And it's very, very important. If everybody wishes and wants their child to have a good future, but a good future is connected to a good heart.
Beautifully said, and we could not agree more on that. Because we can educate our children,
Right.
we can open up the world to them, but
Right.
if their heart is closed,
Exactly.
they will never reach the true happiness,
Absolutely.
and they will never find their purpose in life as well.
They will not be as happy as they could be.
Yeah.
Parents want their children happy, but they're not connecting it to the right thing. Having happy children, this happens only when they have good and happy thoughts and caring thoughts. When we teach our children love, they give love. When we teach our children hate, they hate. So, we hear a lot of terrible things that are happening sometimes in some places, in some countries, involving young people. And these young people were missing love.
these young people were missing guidance.
Yeah.
These young people were missing appreciation. You know, they try to be good and nobody tells them.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think that it will be to the advantage of every country in the world and every city in the world to be able to help the children grow up with love, grow up with the respect, grow up with appreciation. You know, there's young people who nobody ever tells them, well done. There are young people who nobody says to them, you know, I can see you're going to have a great future ahead, keep it up. They don't get praised, they don't give hope, they don't give love. So how can we expect certain things that we see that we don't like, that has been done by young people? How do we expect these young people to behave and do things right when nobody has invested any time? This is an investment, and the most important one, for the family, for the community, and for the society, and for the world in general. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We don't introduce the young people in the right way. We don't give them an opportunity to make a difference. And we have to do that. And we have to do it from a very early age. If people only knew how much faster young people learn than later on in life. It is almost like someone puts a stamp on you, you know, and the stamp says, I have to be good for lifetime. I have to respect the joy of giving.
While our cookies are cooling, we're going to take a quick step outside to visit the grounds and the Royal Highness's gardens.
Good evening, wonderful. And then
You do a lot of hosting, as you mentioned, other royal families. Do you see the same culture? Do you see the difference between cultures in hosting, welcoming, and then?
yes, we do. Actually, we've been invited from most of them, if not all of them. You know, every year we stay with them, and we have been to Sweden, to Denmark. You know, Qatar, Jordan. You know, we used to take the children there for summer holiday, guests of Her Majesty's there. So we are always have an opportunity, and of course the royals come here as well. You know, we had my husband's 60th birthday here, and the 50th birthday was in London at Claridge's, and Her Majesty the Queen was there, the kingdom, and most of the royals around the world had come to that birthday. Very, very the Claridge's Hotel, which is where he was born, how all these royals around the world recognized how hard it was for him to be born outside his country and to wait you know, for 50 years to be able. Yes, exactly. But it was very, very important. And so he had never been home when he had his 50th. And when Her Majesty, you know, when they asked him, what is your wish when you turn 60? He says, my wish is to be home.
Oh,
And tears down, everybody was just, and so when he turned 60, he was home. And we had in the terrace, we were just now, 1,000 sit-down dinner with the royals, with friends, with everybody, including our government. Entire government was there for his 60th birthday. So when somebody says, make a wish, they better take it serious. Because that wish
came true.
Yes, exactly.
And then he came back home, but he brought his family back home. He brought his all the seeds with him. They were everywhere around the world.
Absolutely.
That's just that alone is the
That
story.
gave you an opportunity.
Yes.
And I remember when we first came to Serbia, after he was invited to come, he was holding my hand on the plane. He said, tell me I'm coming home. me I'm coming home, he was just another man. I couldn't recognize him. He was so overwhelmed. He could not believe that this was going to come. And then when he came, he kissed the land and tears down. Unbelievable. Now this.
Yes, we are in your rose
Hundreds
garden.
of roses. There's no way that I can describe it to you. A month ago, all you could see is just a rose. And
Thank you so much.
welcome. But these are the old ones. And all this are the new ones. And also the other. I noticed in my window today that they were trying to take the old ones and take them out and leave the other.
New growth.
Yes,
That's beautiful. Just beautiful.
And
It was such an honor to get to know Her Royal Highness, not just as a princess, but as a daughter, a wife, a mother, a relentless visionary, and above all, as an exceptional human being.
It's quite amazing to me the amount of work that's on your desk every day. Just to manage a charity that's a worldwide.
and also, for example, I'm helping Ukraine. Ukraine people, because I believe that the children should be able to call the child line like I did here. I did a child line when we first came. And also, I'm trying to find, I'm just now sending from Colorado 60 beds for children that were given to me from Philadelphia Children's Hospital. And so they're loading them as we speak, and they're going to Ukraine.
There are great needs and countless opportunities to help those less fortunate and to make a difference in this world. Her Royal Highness's dedication, determination, and energy in pursuing these efforts seemed absolutely endless. I was both excited and inspired by all that Her Royal Highness had shared, and I wanted to find out how others and myself could help with some of her initiatives.
You are doing a lot, and you continue to try to do even more.
I want to do more.
So with that said, there are a lot of people who are watching this program that might say, I would like to learn more about that charity. So where can they find out more, and how can they get involved?
Well, they can get involved by looking on our website, royal.rs, and Lifeline is the humanitarian organization. And we have a very nice brochure, which I can show you. This brochure is what people get. And the brochure explains to them how they can reach us. Mm-hmm. And if somebody, for example, wants to do a big event in their home, for whatever subject is close to their heart, whether it's an ambulance, whether it's the old people's home.
Breast cancer.
Yes, exactly. Breast cancer in particular, we had the highest incidence of breast cancer in Europe when I got here. Mm-hmm. And thanks to Sloan Kettering of New York, who have been coming for conferences, I was able to manage to save the women in our country. And I'm very grateful to that. There's groups of people who could understand that I was desperate. What can I do from here? I can only give what they give me.
Yes.
My good heart is not enough because if I don't have it, but it's difficult to live here, to hear what people need, and to know that, I could have given it to them if I had the funds for it. And this is the brochure of my foundation that this is the brochure of the palaces, but this is the brochure of the foundation I'd like to show you. Everybody here gets the brochure. Of course, they get some pictures as well, and they get this brochure. Mm-hmm. They rely on us. We rely on you. And this is the message.
Very good. It's simple enough.
Yes.
And for this interview, I hope that all of you who have followed us for the last hour or so, that you understand what kind of person is in charge of this charity and who is the gatekeeper, if you will, of where the funds will go and what will happen and whom they will benefit. So I would encourage you to find out more about this charity. It's a lifelineaid.org. So that's again, lifelineaid.org.
I think everybody should ask themselves, am I making a difference just on myself, on my family, or do I care what this world is all about? You know, we all need to do what we can. And I can tell you, the happiest people in the world are those that they give, not those that they take. God bless you and all those who are listening, and may their life be sweet as well, like our cookies.
Speaking of our cookies, we need to go and finish them.
Yes, we need to look at our cookies. You're absolutely right.
We are back after our refreshments. We are back to finish up the cookies, and Her Royal Highness is way ahead of me. So, finishing up these cookies is really simple. You can pick any jam you like, but traditionally it's apricot jam that goes inside, because apricot jam has a little bit of sourness in it, and it kind of adds up to the flavor. So the beauty of these cookies is they don't have to be refrigerated. They can last for a few days, and like right now, if you try them, they would be so good. But the next day, they're even better.
Wow.
They would just melt
You
in
mean
your
the
mouth.
next day that?
Oh, you have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and you just pop one of these in and just let it melt in your mouth. Oh.
Her Royal Highness is a great baker indeed. So much so that some of her recipes are featured in this cookbook. Cooking with Love is a delicious collection of recipes from around the world. The proceeds of this book are set forth to help women and children in need. And just as we were ready to wind down, an unexpected visitor stepped into our kitchen. Even a top-notch chefs would get nervous if they are just about to get judged by their crown prince. Luckily, my princess had my back by sweetening the deal just a little bit. After presenting what Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Katherine and I prepared today, we were eager for His Royal Highness Crown Prince Alexander to try our cookies.
We went Serbian all the way.
Well done.
Yeah, very good. And Her Royal Highness was really good in the kitchen. So we were just complimenting. Yeah.
Okay.
We were just complimenting.
Sorry, I should have offered you first.
You know what? We must.
I don't know if it was our cookies or it was Her Royal Highness's kiss, but our crown prince was quite content. Following the centuries-long tradition of hospitality, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Alexander invited me to try some of his favorite homemade brandy called Slivovec. This national drink is often offered at the arrival of the guests or at the departure. And just as we were saying our goodbyes, His Royal Highness had something else in mind.
You know, there was
Would anybody like to have a cup of coffee in the blue room?
Yes, we could do that.
We would love to if you have time.
Yeah, we have
I don't want to impose further. I would love to hear a couple of words from you
Sure.
if you have time. But I understand that you're.
No, we do. We do.
Okay.
If you make time for us, we make time for you.
Absolutely, we make time.
Let's have coffee. Okay. Aprons off, back to cup of coffee, which that's just how it is in Serbia. You know, you rest, you have coffee, you talk, you do what you do, and then you go back to sitting and talking a little bit more.
I will ask just to summarize Serbia in a few sentences.
Well, we're misunderstood for being Siberia. Actually, we're Serbia.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yes.
Geography. Yeah, we are in the eastern part of Europe, actually the Western Balkans, and there's a lot of history here. And Serbia is a great country with our tradition, culture, and history is fascinating about this country, particularly my family. You have my great-grandfather was King Peter I of Serbia, then Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, Slovenes. Then my grandfather, King Alexander, was king of Yugoslavia, and my father was king of Yugoslavia. But we've had a lot of history. We will have a lot to show. If you come to Belgrade, it's a great vibrating city. There's a lot of young people. There's many activities, particularly at night. There's great restaurants. And also, if you look at my family, we have a lovely mausoleum outside of Belgrade, about an hour outside, which is unique in the world, with millions of mosaics from Murano that my great-grandfather started and finished by my grandfather. And then we're doing this interview in the palace, in Dedinje. There are two palaces, this one, the Royal Palace, and the White Palace. And they're both very different, but both very nice. But unfortunately, after the Second World War, the communists confiscated them. And to come here is, it's open to tourism. It was closed. It was like a forbidden city for decades. And when we came to live here, it'll be 21 years next month, we opened it to tourism. We have a lot of tourists, and we're very happy that we have boat tours here, which consist of mainly retired Americans that come to either up the Danube or down the Danube, and either they end up in the Black Sea or Budapest or even further up. And we entertain them by showing them around and asking them questions. But then we have also other tourists, domestic and foreign. There are a lot of activity.
How do you see Serbia in the next 4 years?
Well, I think it's very important to say that in the world we're going through all sorts of new things, like democracy is in danger. There are invasions here and there, aggression. We suffered aggression, which was never authorized by the United Nations. A lot of things are happening, but we are acting like a normal country, that we want tourists. We want them to come and spend money. We take good care of them. We're good hosts and things like that. So it's normal to have that. But what's affecting us is what's going on in the world today. And what's more, inflation is increasing. And of course, sanctions are not helping here and there. It's been a bit of a disaster. COVID did not help at all. We were closed like everybody else for close to 2 years. Very concerned. We had a lot of cases of COVID. And we tried to do events, but we could not. My wife tried to have 2 symposiums for doctors. It was having to be done online. I had a situation with my foundation education, same thing online, and again this year. I hope the next year we can all gather here and that we can move forward in a peaceful, united world. After the bombing, I noticed democracy wasn't going far, so I convened conferences abroad. The first one was in Budapest in November 1999. And I sent an email. There was no social media then. So I sent an email to the leaders of the opposition saying, hey, you will turn up in Budapest to discuss the future of the country. And they came to the Hilton Hotel. We were very happy. We had a 2-day conference and they got on very well with each other. They felt less constrained doing it abroad. The next one we did was in Athens, a 3-day one, very successful. They came to many agreements and also continued at Kennedy School of Government. Harvard. And then we had elections here in September 2000, and the Democratic opposition won, and the regime canceled them. They did that before municipality elections, and everybody went on the streets. But this time they were highly organized, they didn't allow anybody to interfere, and the regime capitulated on the 5th of October. The new prime minister I supported, Zoran Đinđić, called me up and said, come back, we're waiting for you. That's how we got there.
I have learned some of the difficulties that you experienced as a young man. Tell us about how does one contain the love and care for a country that in some ways has casted.
Well, don't dwell in the past. Learn from the past is the main thing. Learn from the past. And don't seek revenge. Bring your enemies closer than your friends. That's the main thing. And I think that's what we did. We tried very hard. But a lot of things happened here. We were a dictatorship for many decades. And the family was ostracized by propaganda, all sorts of inventions that we left the country with trainloads of gold, which would have been absolutely amazing. I wouldn't have to beg for money in that sense. But all sorts of terrible stories happened. But the main thing is we're back here, we're trying to survive, it's not been easy. The tragedy is this compound and many other things were paid for by my grandfather through investments in gold mines and shares like Woolworths and things like that. And he paid taxes. If you pay taxes, obviously it's private, but it still has not been restituted. And that is a gross human rights violation. Another gross violation was I was declared an enemy of the state at the age of 2. What did I do at the age of 2? I think that's quite disgusting. But let's put that aside and think of all the others who suffered. I'm not the only one who left this country, who was persecuted, who had trouble, whose properties were confiscated. There were many, many others. A lot of them live in the United States.
It's wonderful to know that despite of all of that, the good in your heart has prevailed, and that you continue to care for this country so deeply.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was just about to depart when their Royal Highnesses presented me with an unexpected gift.
I'm going to wear this so proudly. Oh, thank you so much.
And then the rose door and a rose pad.
I will wear for sure.
These are very good designers.
Thank you.
Even the box.
Even the box, yes. I'm not a jewelry person. They made me put some jewelry on today, but a scarf I will wear. Oh, this is breathtakingly beautiful. Oh, and this is a motif from
the walls downstairs.
From the walls. Oh my goodness.
Open it again.
Oh, this is gorgeous. And I love these warm colors. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can
And flowers from the garden. My wife planted all these roses and they're quite amazing. Actually, they smell too.
And I understand there's a close connection to yellow roses.
My father liked them.
Wow, what a memory you have.
This interview is certainly one of my favorite interviews I have done this far. A special thank you to Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Katherine and His Royal Highness Crown Prince Alexander for opening their home, for their hospitality and their warm welcomes. It is not often that I meet people whose life legacy inspires me so deeply. In addition to all accomplished, Her Royal Highness continues to actively engage in promoting human welfare and social reforms as a philanthropist. Serbians all around the world must be proud to call this exceptional human being their princess.